Come, come. Have a seat, Pratik. Uh, so, Pratik, you are from Raipur
Yes, sir.
and your optional is geography,
Yes, sir.
and you have done Bachelor in Civil Engineering,
Yes, sir.
and you're Secretary of Civil Engineering Association, watching cricket, pet caring, calligraphy. So, who is your idol in cricket, whom you watch very often?
Sir, it is MS Dhoni, sir.
MS Dhoni. Okay. So you must have seen his film also. That means MS Dhoni's film.
Yes, sir, I have, sir.
Okay. So what is the difference between a good length, a short ball, and Yorker, and a bouncer, and also full toss?
Sir, the difference is in the length of ball pitching on the pitch. Bouncer is the most short ball, that is, it is pitched more closer to the bowler. Then we have the short ball. Then we have the good length ball, full Yorker, and the full toss.
So which is the most difficult ball to face?
Uh, Sir, batsmen today are specializing in hitting every kind of ball. Generally, it is the Yorker in the death overs, but if it is swinging, then good length is also difficult.
Okay. Now there are two professions which are really respected by people. You know, one is teacher, education, and then there is a doctor. Okay. So, but what happens is that whenever there is a problem, so the doctors, you know, they are people hit those doctors, criticize the doctors, they beat them up in the hospital. Teachers are not hit. What is the why? They are both respected provision. People respect them much as the case of doctor as in the case of teacher. But teachers, they don't attack teachers; they attack doctors. Why?
Sir, what is at stake with a doctor is, I think, more than what is at stake with a teacher.
Why not? Teachers' stake is the entire education of the child.
Long term perspective, sir. And for doctors, they react on immediate basis. They don't realize that it is not their mistake, or even if it is, they do not realize that hitting them or abusing or criticizing them won't change anything at that moment.
All right. Now tell me the percentage of voting at the time of Lok Sabha or Vidhan Sabha election generally does not exceed 70%. Generally, it's generally less than 70%. So obviously, not all people come and vote, and the winning candidate is decided on the basis of whatever votes have been polled. Do you think e-voting can be an answer to secure a much higher percentage of votes? But if we talk about e-voting, tell me the pros and cons of that. So sitting at home, you can open your computer and drop your vote.
Uh, Regarding whether it can be an answer, I think it can be an answer, but we need to evaluate the pros and cons. And the pros and cons, as you asked, sir, the pros would be definitely it would get more number of votes and a fairer victory for a candidate. It would reduce the travel cost for a person who goes to vote. It would it would be easy to verify on internet the identity, linking it to Aadhaar. So, but cons would be the issues related to data security, issues related to the cyber security. Then already in our nation we have a large digital divide. So, for example, where I come from, Chhattisgarh, so Dantewada region did not have provisions for e-education. So, how will they vote online, sir? So, these things are to be kept in mind before we switch completely to e-voting, sir.
One more aspect, which is a very crucial aspect of a voting, which needs to be protected. Now, in the case of voting through e-voting from home, can you tell me what is that aspect which will not be protected in most of the cases?
Sir, I think one vote, one person, one vote. identity fraud related aspects also.
What about secrecy of voting? So 10 people will sit or before a computer, there will be no secrecy. Everyone will know who is voted for. Okay, yes. That will be also be a con. All right. Now, this week we are celebrating the role of the PSUs towards nation building. Now, what is the role do you think PSUs have played in our nation building? And do you think moving ahead in the direction of privatization, is it the right step, or you think that we should continue to have the PSUs, rather improve those PSUs wherever they are loss making, rather than selling them to the private people?
Sir, PSU's role up till now, what I see and what I have read is they have been the growth foci, growth poles in that period. Although they had limitations, but which have clearly been visible post privatization due to more efficiency of.
So what are the purposes it served? Tell me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever.
The economic purpose, getting revenue by goods and services. The social purposes it served by providing large scale employment and low cost products. As I mentioned, sir, the growth pole, which led to development of infrastructure, roadways and railways were connected to backward regions like Bhilai region, that was a backward region. So the fourth purpose, it brought foreign capital and foreign cooperation in establishment.
And also served as a model employer.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, is it the right step, privatization?
Sir, I believe privatization should be on case-to-case basis. We should not close our eyes and privatize everything. The loss-making ones, the inefficient ones should be studied, and the cost of the firm should be evaluated, and then it should be privatized, sir.
Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, which is profit-making PSU, should it be privatized or not?
Sir, I don't know the numbers exactly, but suppose a breakthrough technology emerges which can lead to reducing the cost and government cannot provide it or offer it, then it can be privatized, sir.
So what is the reasoning advanced by government towards privatization? What are the arguments which the government has advanced?
So the government says that it has no business to be in business. So that means government wants to be a facilitator, it wants to be a regulator, but not participate in production now. It says that private sector can ensure more efficiency. The workers are better skilled, better equipped, and that's why it is pushing for privatization of these companies, sir.
One more is very important reason why government has created a disinvestment ministry, in fact, from Arun Shori days. And what is that argument which government says will be served by privatization or disinvestment? Disinvestment, many times it has been done. So the equity, which was government equity, it has been sold to the private people and to the public also. What is that particular thing? Why government is so concerned about disinvestment?
Sir, I'm not able to come at that particular thing right now, sir.
Well, the funding which is required for education, for health, you can't increase the taxes beyond a certain limit. You have to have other sources of income. So the government exchequer needs to, have much larger. So that is provided by selling the units. Okay. Now, last question. In your first posting, supposing you get IAS, you'll be posted as SDM. Now, the chief minister is to pay a visit to your district. You are the headquarters subdivision, assisting your collector, district magistrate. The CM is to arrive in about 15 minutes time. And your collector tells you, Pratik, come and make an elevator presentation. What is that presentation? Elevator presentation. He says, make an elevator presentation.
Sir, I have no idea. I've never heard this.
You never heard about it? The elevator, the time it takes from the higher floor to come to the lower floor, it is a few minutes only. So elevator presentation is that when you are entering the elevator, During the flight, you make that presentation, tell them about the facts of the case quickly. And that's about it. Okay.
Your BTech degree from which plan?
Yes, sir. Hyderabad campus.
Hyderabad, civil engineering.
Yes, sir.
Very important one.
Yes, sir.
But you still want to come to civil services.
Yes, sir.
Now convince us that
Sir,
actually that you are the best material for civil services.
sir, so my choice of switching from civil engineering to civil services was interplay of a various number of factors through a gradual 4 years of my college life. When I went to my college, I was first time out of Raipur. I told them that I'm Raipur, and they thought it is an Naxalite place. Sir, my college was located in a semi-arid region, 25 kilometers from Hyderabad. I saw stark realities of my college having water overflowing, air conditioner, everything, and the village nearby, women lining up to get water, no electricity. So these things on a daily basis pushed me away from civil engineering. Although I tried to solve these problems in civil engineering through projects also by incorporating social issues such as waste and accidents. But sir, I always felt that it was more sectoral, the solution which I am thinking of. And finally, sir, in 1819, this intrigues and this curiosity turned into me going for reading more these things. I started reading newspaper, and I decided to pursue this.
Tell us the three important motivating factors. 1, 2, 3.
Sir, as I told you about 2019, first factor was seeing the education work that has been done in Dantewada, the Naxal hit tribal district, where the dropout ratio was 50%, and it.
Education.
Yes, sir. So the second one was inequality reduction, which I have high regards for. I highly aim to do that. Yes, sir. And the third one is, sir, I want to facilitate smoother system, which I experienced myself in civil engineering and contracts there.
For example, what system you will set up?
Sir, I experienced that payments are delayed.
But in what format you will actually present that system?
Sir, with technology, I aim that everything should be smooth. It should be visible to everyone, transparent, which makes it smoother. It makes it accessible. So it is already happening, but I have a strong feeling that I can contribute towards it and make it even better, sir.
What will be your core functions as district collector?
Sir, as a district collector, as a like it is a CEO of the district, sir, I'll be managing various funds which are for various schemes that the daily functioning of the district government.
You won't get money actually. You will get only money for survival, paying salary, conducting elections, and some emergency funds. Funds will go to other local bodies, Jila Panchayats, Education Department, Health Department, Manrega, food. You will not get money.
Sir, I
The
can.
revenue department's budget is very small budget.
Sir, I can lead in convergence of these funds into something.
But that you have no control over actually funds.
Okay, sir. Sir,
Functions of district collector.
Sir,
You will going to office daily, morning since late night. So you must be doing some work also there.
Yes, sir.
So what work?
Sir, from my experience, what I have seen is whatever projects are made.
Have you seen any village? Have you been to a village?
Yes, sir, I have been to a village.
What are the functionaries there? Government functionaries in a village.
Sir, the Patwari is there, Tehsildar is there, the Zila Panchayat is there.
In village?
Yes, sir.
In a village?
Sir, not sure, sir.
You have to actually understand what is the village, then the taluka, then the district, and what is the hierarchy of revenue administration. You have to study more on that. Anyway, tell me, what are the learnings from the Ukraine-Russia war?
Sir, for
What are the learnings actually to entire actually, like you see world? What are the learnings? What are the impacts of this kind of war, where it affects everyone?
Sir, geopolitical learnings would be to be self-sufficient. Military learnings would be to have capacity to defend ourselves in case of attack.
First, tell how it is affecting actually, how it is affecting every country, every segment.
Sir, it is affecting economically. Inflation is rising in every country due to
Why
supply
it should
shocks.
rise? If some war is actually being fought at somewhere else, it should affect us. Why the inflation?
Sir, we are living in a globalized world and everything is interconnected. Ukraine and Russia not able to supply wheat is pushing wheat prices up all over the world. So that
So
is,
are we affected by that?
yes, sir. In India, we are getting an opportunity to export wheat, which is creating supply-demand mismatch. Then the oil prices, as Russia is a big supplier of oil and gas, so that is causing problem.
They are ready to give us a discount.
Yes, they are ready to give us at discount, but Russia is to supply to Ukraine, Europe, European nations, and in this scenario, they have banned, they have reduced the supplies, asking West Asian regions and other oil exporting nations to supply, which is causing the demand supply problem for India also, raising the prices.
Okay, the impact is actually in all the sectors, directly or indirectly. You see, dependent on the logistics, the supply chain. Okay, pet caring is your hobby. So, what is this hobby of pet caring? What do you do?
Uh, Sir, post COVID, when I was at home in lockdown, I got a dog, and I started spending time with him. I had some time then while studying, whenever I used to get free time, and we have a dog play zone in Raipur. So we used to take our pet there. We used to feed other dogs also and ensure though I'm not aware about the medical care exactly facilities, but we used to ensure that they are vaccinated. 3-month dog is vaccinated. Then after a year,
What are the vaccines?
sir, a basic vaccine is the anti-rabies vaccine. Then we those who can afford it, the dogs are given.
You have given the vaccine to your dog.
Yes, sir, I have given.
How we give the vaccine? What is the process?
Sir, I personally took him to the vet, and the veterinary doctor, she told me the durations when the vaccine is to be given, and a card. Yes, sir.
What duration? What's he told?
So 3 months, and then after 1 year, every year regular.
No, anti-rabies. I'm asking about
Yes, sir,
anti-rabies. So see, you took the dog and she gave the vaccine.
Sir, she inquires about the age and breed. Yes, sir.
But finally she gave same day.
Yes, sir. No, so she called after 3 months, and
After 3 months.
Yes.
And then
Sir, then I went and she gave the vaccine.
no deworming.
Deworming is regularly through syrup.
No. Before vaccine, I'm asking actually.
So syrup is given to small dogs, and for adults we have tablets now. Those because dogs are
Which are the dangerous breeds? Which are the dangerous breeds? Dog breeds.
Sir, in terms of attacking, German Shepherds can attack. Doberman can also attack. So people find them very dangerous.
No, I have German Shepherd. They are very friendly.
Yes, sir. If they are friendly, no dog is dangerous, sir.
Dangerous one actually. The most dangerous ones.
Sir,
You study more on the pets.
Yes, sir. I'll have to. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Pratik. Now, from your def, I can guess that your parents or your father is involved in some industry. Is that so?
He's a retailer, sir. Retail distributor.
Retail distributor. So he has a business of his own. Now, in that business, he provides employment to many people, I suppose.
Yes.
So, you are a job provider and now you want to become a job seeker. Your father is his own boss. He provides jobs to others, and he is not subject to any, undue restrictions from outside. Now, when you join the service, firstly you are seeking a job. Secondly, you will be subject to many rules and regulations, and you are not, boss on your own. So, why do you want to do that?
Sir, I have always respected that profession, and no doubt, sir, if I am not able to join, if some marks issues are there, I think that's an option for me. But, sir, I was never inclined towards joining the business. I felt that my education qualifications can be utilized in a better way, and whatever understanding and whatever my life has developed in that way, I have chosen this, sir.
Because the BITS Pilani you studied, that was also set up by an industrialist who created thousands of jobs for the country.
Yes.
So don't you feel that it's also one of the great opportunities that you become industrialist or businessman and you create jobs for others? That's good in the society.
Just imagine Mukesh Ambani joining civil service, competing rather for the SDM job.
His abilities to cost profit, maximize profit, and reduce the cost would be really useful.
Maximize profit is one aspect, but you provide wealth, tremendous wealth in the society. Business industry are the creator of the wealth, and they are the one who provide employment. So I'm just making a suggestion to you.
Sir, the government sector or civil services in a country like ours with so much poverty still, like so much inequality, sir.
But industrialist can better tackle those problems, poverty and inequality both.
Sir,
Anyway, that's okay. That's okay. Now tell me, when the USSR was dissolved and how many countries emerged out of it?
Sir, I don't recall the exact number, sir.
And the year in which it was dissolved?
1991, sir. Sorry, sir.
And approximate number of countries, no idea?
Sir, there's a number in back of mind, but I think it might be wrong, sir. So 14.
Yeah, number is 15. Now, civil engineering, modern civil engineering, is designing buildings and structures which are highly energy intensive. Now look at this building, it's highly energy intensive, which is very bad for the environment. Why don't we design more environmental friendly buildings as was done in the past? If you look at our forts in the past, they were highly environmental friendly. Even in Europe, the ancient structures, no air conditioning was needed, no heating was needed, and they withstood all the pressures of the climate. So why it is so?
Sir, comparing the older eco-friendly buildings with today's buildings, a multiple number of factors have changed. Today we require stronger, more resilient buildings, so we have moved towards concrete. Also, ease of construction, the workability is better. So then the climate changes that have occurred. The heat is more. Jalis work up to a specific temperature only, sir. The lifestyle has changed. We are putting glass in everything that itself does not allow the heat to move out easily. So heat chambers are developing and we need air condition. Concrete itself releases 589 kg of CO2 every day, sir. So we definitely have to adopt some of the technologies we used before, like thinning chamber of air, which cools down the air automatically. We can have the gap between ceiling and the top, so heat is not transferred. So these technology was used at the past also, and we should employ it today also, sir.
So you think the modern designing of civil engineering are quite defective?
Yes, sir. Some of the practices are flawed, sir.
Now tell me, what are the strategic advantages to India because of its geographical location?
Sir, India's geography provides it security from all directions except the northwest. Historically, also this has been the case. Then, being at the location in Indian Ocean, we are at the lynch point of the trade that occurs from West Asia as well as from China, the East Asia, as well as ASEAN also. Sir, then we are a cultural link to many civilizations which have majorly have occurred in this region itself. Another geographical advantage is for our agriculture that helps us become self-sufficient and also export. So then the advantage related to easy trade for India and the mineral wealth.
You have to link them with the geographical features of India, like the high mountains in the north gives protection. The vast, coastal area provides us sea lanes.
Yes.
The Thar Desert provides us a different geography. The plains of west of India gives us fertile land. So you have to link it with geography.
Yes.
Now my last question is, what is asset monetization pipeline?
Sir, this scheme envisages to monetize the brownfield assets and those assets lying idle, like a large amount of land is lying idle with various ministries and idle, sorry. With various ministries and departments. So this scheme aims to monetize it in a better way to envisage more profit and utilize these things effectively, efficiently.
Can you give one or two examples?
So the railway ministry and railway departments have a large amount of land which is kept barren and idle, sir. Sorry. Idle. So those lands can be monetized. Personally, sir, I have seen Bhilai Steel Plant has an area which is left idle and it is not utilized. We can see it moving from the train also. So that is also an area under consideration.
Okay. So if you give it out on lease, do you think you will get it back in time when you need it?
So we'll be in contract, so we'll get it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Pratik, you've spoken on multiple occasions about equality reduction, which is a core issue that bothers you. Industrialization and inequality are corollaries of each other. Do you think the same?
Sir, it has happened that way, but personally, I feel it should not have happened that way.
Is there any example of any country in the world which has economically grown but has also reduced its inherent inequalities?
Sir, various countries have grown up to a point after which they have reduced inequality. Until then, they have not reduced inequality.
So, isn't inequality a necessary evil for sectoral growth?
Sir, in absolute terms, inequality is a evil, but if inequality was to exist according to me, it should exist up to a point that the most backward have the capabilities and abilities to have basic minimum requirements.
So, what does inequality mean to you?
So for me, it is inequality when I am able to, like I mentioned about my college, sitting in a air condition and the village beside not having electricity.
Isn't that a class divide?
Yes, sir. So though all these factors due to class, due to geographies.
Are you aware of any international reports which rank countries on the basis of inequality?
Sir, I think the Oxfam produces an inequality report.
Recently, Oxfam was in the news. Why so?
Sir, I am not able to recall why it was in news, sir.
Their operations were severely restricted by the government. That is why. All right. You do come from Raipur, and we often hear of something called New Raipur, right? Now, what is New Raipur? Is it a satellite town?
Sir, New Raipur itself has emerged as a city instead of a satellite town. We have 3 smart cities in Chhattisgarh: Raipur, New Raipur, and Bilaspur. So it is a city beside Raipur, 5 kilometers away from it. Full-fledged city, sir. It is aimed to be the most advanced and well-planned one in modern times, sir.
And has it complied with certain environmental standards as the honorable member was previously inquiring you about?
Sir, it has tried to comply. It has incorporated urban forest. It has incorporated open water zones to act as sponge to absorb the extra water. The industry permits are very strict in New Raipur. Land allotment according to sectors of industry and food processing industry are different sectors. So in that way, it has tried to do that, but so right now it is in implementation phase only.
Right. The reason I'm asking you is because uh, when we speak of New Raipur, it's often argued that the government has created massive infrastructure, massive schools, massive universities, especially in and around Dantewada. That was one of the pet projects of the erstwhile collector who later on moved to join active politics. The larger question, however, is most of them are still not flooded with students. There is no enrollment. So infrastructure without enrollment is just an incurred government cost. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, sir, I agree. And we need to pursue with all our efforts that those students are enrolled in the
So is Dantewada a best practice that can be replicated to other areas of the country?
Sir, in terms of the aims that person, the collector aimed to establish, in short term he was able to establish, but now we are seeing the long term fruits. We need to analyze before implementing and expanding in such a big capacity, sir.
Thank you.
So Pratik, we'll take you for a few minutes. You'll stay outside, and we'll call you back again for giving our feedback. So don't go away. Just sit and we'll call you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Pratik, when is your interview fixed?
So 26th April afternoon session.
20, 26th April. Okay. All right. And this is the first time you'll be appearing at an interview of CSE? All right. So tell us how you performed at this mock interview. If you were on the other side as a panelist, how do you assess yourself, empathize yourself? If you were in, how would you do that?
Sir, I think I was confident enough and I was able to convey what I was thinking. I think the prioritization of points could be better. And sir, I was not able to hear sir clearly. So my pardon etiquettes were not, I could not come across that very nicely.
Concept?
Sir, to ask again, pardon. Sir.
Acha, no, no, no.
That is your right, actually. That is your right. Don't hesitate. Don't hesitate.
Yes, sir. Sir, I could not hear him properly. Otherwise, I think I did fine, sir.
So, Pratik, first of all, let me tell you some of the basic fundamental principles for the interview. Number one, whenever you are in doubt, you have not heard clearly,
Yes.
always politely you can ask him to repeat the question.
Yes.
Because you get only 20 minutes and you have to show your worth in that.
Yes.
So if you lose one or two questions and you in your anxiety not to ask question, you'll be losing your marks on that. So do that. Number two, whenever you give answers, always give both the sides of the coin. So particularly in respect of some of the burning topics which may be controversial also. Reservation is one, corruption is another, Article 370, surgical strikes, CAA. So all these are Ayodhya temple. These are all provocative questions in which you should always give both the sides. And if you are asked to, give option, what you think about it, follow the official version. Don't criticize, don't go against that.
Yes.
And lastly, always back it up with examples. Any point which you want to explain.
Yes.
For example, you may like to explain about the values which are required in a civil servant. Give examples. So while explaining accountability, give example. That will make your answer much more convincing. Never bluff. If you do not know, say politely, I do not know. Now, coming to your case, we found that you were mentally alert. There was no problem on that. You were having analytical skills to analyze a question from both the point of view in most of the cases. And you were clear and logical. Your communication skills are absolutely fine. Your good articulation, good presentation, good movement of eyes, eye contact, and your demeanor, your everything, dress sense, everything is fine. Most of the time we found that you had a balance of judgment. You did not give answer which were revolutionary. It is never good to give any revolutionary ideas about anything. The risk, you are not expected to take risks in the interview. These are my general observation. I'm not at all trying to suggest that you did that, but never take risks in interview. And because for taking risks, there is the entire 35 years of service which is left, which you can take at a later stage of time. And then we found that more or less all of the questions, they possessed the intellectual and moral integrity. You were clear, you were able to come out with your answers, and your clarity of thought was there, and confidence, very confident. There is no problem with that. Now coming to this civil engineering, lot will be asked on civil engineering. You may be asked many questions regarding designing. What is the types of concretes which are there? What are the latest development which have taken place in construction of buildings and so on, and the bridges, earthquake resistant. What is the retro engineering? All these things. You can be asked about, say, for example, Burj Khalifa. How was it constructed? So these kind of things which will be asked about civil engineering. Then watching cricket. So you must know everything about cricket. I don't have to tell you. You said Mahendra Singh Dhoni was your favorite, no? So then pet caring, that you should know slightly greater detail. All things, all the diseases, all the problems which are associated with the pets, all the advantages of having a pet, and so on. Calligraphy, yes, you have to understand that fully. And then of course about Raipur, about Chhattisgarh, every bit of information, every bit I'm saying. So pick up any good book on Chhattisgarh and Raipur, what progress it has made, after bifurcation from the original state. And then the demography, the geographical facts, the area, the irrigation, what is the percentage of irrigation, agricultural crops, rabi crops, kharif crops, industries which have come there, the social problems there, what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, what are the tourist spots, everything. And similarly about Raipur. And then reason for joining civil services. Now you gave many reasons that I observed, that the villagers were not having drinking water and those things. But you have to come out with very, very strong reasons why civil services have attracted you. So you have to understand and go deep into what civil service provides, which other services do not provide. But at the same time, do not criticize any other service. Everyone is important. Everyone is performing a public duty, a doctor, an engineer, an architect, etc. But when you talk about civil service, then you must include in your answer certain points which are typical of civil service, and that makes it unique. So the thing like leadership positions at a very young age, you are manning a district as collector, head of the department, you will become managing director. So you will be having you will be occupying very important leadership position where you can show your worth and you can do a lot of good to the humanity and to the public. So that is one reason. The second is the entire public policy making process. You will be part of that. 35 years of service which you will have, you will at every stage you will be performing some duty in respect of public policy. It can be identifying the problems. When you are SDM, you'll be identifying the problems of the people. Then ultimately as collector, you will be implementing the policies. At a senior stage as director or secretary, you will be formulating the policies and then evaluating the policies. So at every stage, you will be part and parcel of, which is unique in the case of IAS. It is also typically present in other services also. Public policy is everywhere. So you will be a part of that. That is a strong reason why you want to come to the civil services. Third is lot of ingenuity, lot of creativity, lot of innovation are provided because the civil servant have a certain mandate, certain administrative powers, some financial powers, and they can do a lot of good. Then the canvas is very big. So you can get different departments and you get your horizon is widened. So that kind of exposure is not provided elsewhere. And then of course very satisfying. And when you see that the answer which you were trying to give, that when you see the conditions of the poor, the citizens of this country, what efforts you can make, and that is provided by the civil service. All right. Now the core functions of collector that you can study, and you go to visit some office, the collector's office, revenue functions, developmental functions, then coordination functions, magisterial functions, election duties, disaster management. These are some of the typical functions. Just go into that. That is the hierarchy. All right. Then what are the learnings from Russia-Ukraine war? You spelled out some of the reasons. Go study that in greater detail. What is the result of this disorder or conflict which has been created between two countries, but it is having a ripple effect all over the world, including India. And that is why there is now a move that the learning, one of the biggest learnings from Russia-Ukraine war is that we have to become self-sufficient, self-reliant, and that is why Atmanirbhar Bharat. Shift towards the manufacturing sector. Many things which we get, we have to import from outside. It can be semiconductor, it can be electronic goods. So we need to now, make those things in this country. And that is why startups and Make in India and Stand Up India, all those schemes. All right.
The implications of various sanctions imposed by different countries. What are their implications?
Correct. So those ones, if the sanctions are imposed, you will have to now think about, generating. How will you survive? Yeah. So then, of course, the dangerous breeds of the dogs which are there, and the pet caring, the vaccine, etc. And when USSR was dissolved, how many countries when it was done? So certain things about 80.
Yes,
So-
sir. After answering
15 countries.
So the India's relation with its neighbors, the international world order, how it is emerging, role of United Nations, the bodies which are there in regard to environment, regarding health, regarding children, regarding overall development, regarding trade agreements, regarding labor, all these international organizations, because every one of them has an effect all over the world. So what is their effect? And then of course the situation in Sri Lanka and in Pakistan, some of our neighbors, why it has developed. What is your prospect which you see in having a better relation between India and Pakistan? Are you a pessimist or an optimist? Similarly, the relation with China and United States and so on. The commerce, the trade which is there, the economy of the country, the budget, all these things you must know. The public policies for different sectors of society, women, children, disadvantaged sectors like the handicapped, and then the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, all these. The election process, you must understand that. And then Modern civil engineering is highly energy intensive. So that aspect you must understand, that what is the latest technology which is coming now in construction of houses and so on, which is less. And the example was given in the old buildings which used to be constructed. They did not require any facility of such devices which we require them now. Partly you explained that use of glass is there, and the jalis etc. They are not used now. And then environmental friendly buildings, green buildings, strategic advantage to India in terms of geography, that you could explain in greater detail. And specifically saying, here is Himalayas, here is Arabian Sea, here is Bay of Bengal, is, and so on. So that is how the northeast and the desert and all these things add up to that. So the geopolitical and geo-economic factors you have to take into account. Then monetization proposal, which are the major players in that. So they are, the railways is there, then the plants are there, and the power sector is there. Lot many PSUs. And if I were to ask you how many PSUs are there, can you give that number? I asked you that question about this week is being celebrated for nation building. What is the role? It's almost 325 plus. Okay. How many are in profit? How many are in losses? That also you must know. Which is the next PSU, which is on the anvil for privatization. So BPCL is the next thing, and many others have already been done. You must know those things. MTNL has been done and so on. Then the quality reduction, the question were raised on that, and then the economically the reports which what ranks. Atish, you were asking about that question.
Oxfam and international reports. So there is the World Inequality Report. Then there is of course Oxfam. There is also the Human Development Index, which is also a measure of inequality in a manner. So you can circle around it.
In fact, there are many indices, and you must know everything. HDI is one, corruption perception index, and there are other, hunger, for example. There are so many indices.
Now I'm able to think of more.
So there are so many.
There is one very important is called Gini coefficient, which gives you very precise measurement. That's the most authentic one.
In fact, all your indices can easily be drawn from the SDGs and MDGs.
Yes.
They are, because that is what we want to achieve.
Exactly.
And naturally, the indices are related to all of them. So that you can study in greater detail. And then, of course, about New Raipur and the Raipur and Bilaspur, which you mentioned. So typically, what is happening there? To the institutions which have been created, whether the seats are full or filled or not, and so on. So these are the questions which are likely to come. And if you have any questions, you can ask us.
Sir, now I'm not able to think immediately, but you have covered it, sir, everything. You have covered the DAF also.
So just go back and you are done well, and you can do even better. So you can be really outstanding, and your personality is good, impressive, communication skills are good, structuring of sentences is good, intonation, modulation in the voice is fine, your eye contact, everything is fine, and just a little bit depth into the knowledge, and some more areas which we have indicated. Read the Constitution, read the Criminal Procedure Code, read the Indian Penal Code. Just go through those things so that you do not stop at any question. You are in a position to answer it.
So I want to ask, I just remembered one thing.
Yeah.
Sir, in some mocks, I have got a review that I am trying to play too safe. I'm not answering openly. Sir, is that the case?
No, not at all. Not at all. This is not at all the case. You are coming out very honestly and faithfully the answer which you wanted to give. You were not suppressing anything as such. But the line of action which I have indicated to you is the pros and cons, balance.
It is not the selection for activists, it is selection for the civil service.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. The three things which they always say is whether the civil servant is rational, whether he is ethical, and whether he is secular. So at no point of time your answer should display any of things opposite to these. So that will make your answer and very good. It's doable. Just do it. You will definitely do that. Okay. All the best to you.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.